Jinny changes her mind about opposing Seadown, while Nan returns to her role as the Duchess. She was certain that all was hopeless when she fled her spouse. However, after spending months away from him and her home, she considers the prospect of a reunion, and his unexpected arrival makes her question whether he has truly changed. At least on the surface, he gives the impression that he has improved as a man. He attempts to improve relations between Jinny and their son rather than pressuring them to return to England. Jinny is wearing the dress he got her for their honeymoon when they first meet. When they first meet, Seadown says she has finally begun to prioritize her wants over those of others, even if it means Guy has to sacrifice his life for her. He gives her the tickets to return home the next time they meet, implying that she ought to regain her life. He reassures her that everything will return to normal when she questions whether her homecoming would not have repercussions. Jinny is reminded of what he did to Lizzie when he says that he picked her. Seadown becomes noticeably agitated at this abrupt change of circumstances, and Jinny chooses to depart with Freddie as old emotions of hurt and grief begin to resurface. Paloma confronts Guy about Nan in the interim, but he is more worried about Jinny's absence. He informs Paloma that he and Jinny are not married and that she is escaping her violent spouse while he worries about her whereabouts. They sigh with relief when Jinny returns safely, at which point Guy and Paloma share a drink and he briefly updates her on Nan and their complex predicament. When he no longer feels like talking about it, he and Paloma go out and have fun and drink more. They kiss and share a bed as their evening comes to a close. They both agree that they have to do it again, so there is no regret the following morning. Nan chooses to attend Lizzie's party as her wedding day draws closer, and Guy advises that he go with her so that they look like a team. Everyone is delighted to see Nan, but Guy's presence makes Lizzie uneasy. But a few hours later, he asks her to meet him in the garden. Initially, Lizzie decides against doing that and gives Hector her whole attention. She makes the decision to meet him before the end of the night, particularly when her sister makes a speech discussing how she deserves everything and needs to make the best decision for herself. When they first meet, Guy tells her of his and Nan's agreement and exhorts her not to wed Hector. However, Lizzie notes that their affair would still be illicit because they would still be married even after the separation. In the meantime, Mabel and her mother have a sincere talk in which Mrs. As an example, Elmsworth describes how she adored Montreal and believed she would live there for the rest of her life. However, she discovered her husband in New York, which allowed her to travel the world. She suggests that Mabel give herself the same chance. This strikes close to heart, especially after Mabel learns that Honoria has the opportunity to travel to France and try new things. Even though Honoria believes that she should stay behind for Mabel, Conchita pushes her to leave when she says that Honoria has recently opened up a lot and that Mabel can see how thrilled she is with the idea of teaching in a French village. By the wedding day, more than just Honoria will be traveling to France. Blanche is certain that things will return to normal after Nan returns and that she won't be needed as much as she initially believed. Reed offers her the chance to start over in France, and she accepts with pleasure. A devastated Theo, meantime, ruminates on losing yet another lady he loves to another guy. However, he rushes to the chapel and meets up with Lizzie as she shows up in her wedding gown, and she allows him to share his thoughts. Theo advises her not to wed Hector because she deserves a relationship that fulfills all of her desires, not because he is in love with her.